the sun shines bright and the seeds are sown. Portugal, it's the place to be. Join the community, come and see. Expats Portugal.
I'll say a very good evening to you on this, the 9th of October 2025, and a very special first-time webinar, Mastering Portugal's Tax Portal, a must-know guide for expats. Get to grips with the Portal das Finanças for taxes and more. Yeah, and that the emphasis on more. There's so much it can do, and Pedro Franco of EI is going to be putting it through its paces tonight. If you're confused by this, you're not alone. It's quite something to get used to. I don't think anyone ever truly masters it. There might be professors of the portal, as it were. So whether you're trying to file your IRS, download your rent receipts, update your fiscal address, or simply log in for the first time, because that's quite something, the Portal das Finanças can feel like a maze, especially if you're not fluent in Portuguese. So join us tonight. It's a how-to webinar. We're going to go step by step in the company of Pedro. We'll learn how to access and use the e-Balcão for tax questions, view and download your IRS return, Modelo 3. We'll find out what that means as well. Download your Certificado de Residencia Fiscal, issue or view rent receipts, the Recibos de Renda, pay IMI and IUC taxes. We'll find out what those abbreviations are. And you're able to do that online through the portal. And generally speaking, avoid common mistakes that can lead to fines or audits. Arguably, you're not Portuguese until you've had a fine. But let's see what we can do to avoid those this evening. And say very good evening, boa noite. Thank you. Muito obrigado for being here. Pedro Franco of EI. How are you and how's your day been?
Great, Carl. Let me introduce myself for those who don't know me. So my name is Pedro. I work with EI I'm the tax manager from the tax department and all tax related issues. I've been a CPA or a chartered accountant for more than 20 years. And also I'm a financial auditor, but my most known activity is the tax specialty of tax advisory, and I've been dealing with expats for 12 years now with international issues in taxation.
Right, so thank you for being here. You really know what you're talking about. You are I think I called you the Harry Potter of taxation some while ago, perhaps. We're the muggles that you're taking through the process here. So the first question, if we can get straight into this, Pedro, is to find out how a foreigner can register. And it's not optional, really, is it? I mean, everyone's going to need to do this. Some people have it done on their behalf, but it's a really good idea to be able to do this yourself. So how can you register for the Portal das Finanças as its official title?
Yeah, so the registration and as you know, you need a NIF. This is mandatory for practically all issues that you have in Portugal, because it will help you to be compliant with the tax authorities. So if you want to own a house or a car, or if you have residency in Portugal, you will need a NIF. This is the first step, is to get a NIF.
Yes. I
know if you are familiar with getting the NIF, but you can go in person to the tax office yourselves and get a NIF, which sometimes it's not easy. Or you can just appoint a legal representative using a proxy, a power of attorney, and that person can do it online or can go on your behalf to the tax office and get yourself a NIF. At this point, you don't have a Portuguese address. You are non-resident. And it is very important that you register in the portal. Why? Because everything is done through the portal. So you cannot file taxes if you don't have access to the portal, for example. So it is really important to register. I'm going to share with you some screenshots that I've made to help you go through this process of registering for the first time. So
very good. So the NIF number we've talked about before, and of course you can help us access the NIF or get the NIF and get the codes for getting into the portal, as you're about to show us shots of this evening. And of course, the NIF is a very important part of Portuguese life. It will be mentioned on a daily basis, but this is where we really see it coming into its own and being essential, really, to access.
Carl, I've sent you a request because I'm not able to share. Oh, no, I can. Okay.
Yeah, I think I've
Sorry.
done that. You've got a testimonial already coming in, which is O Pedro é incrível. Now, I think it doesn't take much working out. Thanks, Terrell, for that. Pedro's incredible. And I think you've got a lot of happy clients here who've helped you with their taxation affairs, and of course the system that you've pioneered of connecting them with their CPA across the water and you here in Portugal in a three-way call, which is proving to be very helpful to people. So yeah, you've got the screen now.
Okay. Can you see the slides? Yes.
Not yet. I'm just seeing. I can now. I can.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. That's great. So. Yeah. The first step would be to register. And so you have the home screen where you can introduce your credentials. If you are not registered yet, you will need to go. And I've changed this to English. I will show you
excellent.
how we can make a tax portal in English.
Can you do me another favor as well and put it on presenter mode, and then we'll get it a bit bigger.
Okay, I will. Okay,
as well. That'll be awesome. Thank you. So there's a few options for getting in here already. This is where you begin to decode this for us right on from the home page.
Okay, can you see this clearly?
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so you have to go down here to register for your account. Okay, and here it is very important. So you have already your NIF number, which you will fill in this first blank. And then this is crucial. Okay, you need to introduce your email and phone number as and you must signal that you want to receive emails at least. Okay, why this is crucial? Because if you lose your password, this will help you retrieve the password much easier than if you don't. Okay. Otherwise, you will get a letter by post mail to your house. Your house might be abroad, so it's much more difficult. So in this case, you have to introduce your email, your phone, and your physical address. Your physical address is your primary residence that you have registered with the tax portal. Okay, so if you are still a non-resident, your primary residence might be in the UK, for example. Okay, so you must introduce correctly the address. If your primary residence is already in Portugal, you must introduce exactly the same address that you have registered with your NIF. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So it's your fiscal address as well.
Your fiscal address. Yeah. So and then you have a secret question and a secret answer that you can choose from. So remind you that the questions are in Portuguese, something like what is your favorite color? So at this point you are already learning some Portuguese and you can answer yellow or whatever.
Added value. Isn't that amazing? Added value. You don't get a certificate, but you will learn a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, you will.
Could I just point out something at the top there on your previous slide? Yeah, that one. So we're already seeing here, aren't we? The numero contribuente. That is the NIF number, isn't it? But
that is the NIF number.
They're not called the same thing, are they? So this is where you'll see the interchangeability of contribuent and
exactly.
NIF. Yeah.
So contribuent is the translation of taxpayer in Portuguese.
Okay, thank you.
To recover the passwords, which is something that many people go through, you have to use your tax number once again, and you use your secret question and answer. If you have the registered phone number, you will get a short message with the new password, so you can immediately continue to navigate the tax portal. Whereas if you didn't register a mobile phone or an email, you cannot get. You will receive the new passwords by post mail, which will take around 5 days. Yeah. Okay, with all the risk of the mail not getting on your end. Okay.
Yes. And there was another name there, wasn't there? They're calling it a tax number on that third page. So that's still the NIF though, isn't it?
It's still the NIF. It's taxpayer number. So this is a translation because I've translated
Yes. Of course, of numeric
okay.
occupancy. Yeah. Okay.
So when you are, for example, if you use Google Chrome, when you are on the tax portal, you can click with your right, for those of you who don't have an Apple, who have a normal PC, you can click with your right hand button on the mouse, and there is an option which is translate.
Yes.
And you can translate each page to English. So, and every time you click on a button, you need to translate again. But it gets much more easier to navigate in your own language, whether it is English or French or Russian. So please use that tool because I think it's useful.
And that's your own translation via Google. Does the portal itself have selections?
No, it doesn't. No.
Okay, so it's Portuguese and you translate for yourself. Okay.
There is no version in English, which I think we could have a version in English, but okay, it's very, very national. It's good for you to learn Portuguese and keep learning. So
yeah, under pressure. That's right.
And this is a link. If you can copy or print screen this link, which you can introduce into your website, this will take you directly to a section of the tax portal where you have a lot of content of namely guides and how to do this and how to do that in English. Okay, so they've not made an English website, but they've made a lot of leaflets in English, which you can use for the many things, even for the NHR, for example.
Good.
Okay, so when you go into this is one of the most important things that you have on your portal. On your homepage, on the left-hand side, and this is in English. I've used the translator of Google Chrome. You have here some of the most common shortcuts that you can use to go to some important places. Okay, for example, communications is the place where they record all the communications that you receive via email. Okay, so if they send you information regarding that you have not filed yet some income tax return and they send you a warning email, these communications are all here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the most important shortcut is this notifications and summons. These are the formal notifications that are sent to you by the tax authority. If you have, in this case, if you have the electronic notifications activated, which is something that I strongly recommend you to do, and I will show you how to do it. So the notifications can be either the payment invoices for your EMI, your real estate tax, or your personal income tax annual assessment with the payment instructions, or it can be a notification of a fine or something that is due or a legal execution against you. Mm-hmm. So these are the real important notifications that you must be aware of.
That's great. Thank you.
And then the payments button shortcuts will take you, for example, to a section where you can check your tax refunds. For example, if you filed, I had a client this week that she filed an income tax return and the tax return was not correct. So there was a huge bill of 12,000 euros. And then there was an amendment of the tax return after that. And the amendment resulted in no tax liability for the person. In that case, if you already paid the 12,000 euros, you will get a refund, which for that you need to get your bank account registered in the portal, and I can show you how. But in this shortcut here, you can check if your payment is being processed or not, and what is the expected date of the payment.
Very good. I imagine you were quite popular with that client.
Well, it happens a lot. So
Yes.
yeah. Sometimes they go to accountants that are not so familiar with certain types of income, and they file incorrectly, and then the tax return has to be amended.
Yeah.
And the last one, and the very important one, is the integrated tax situation, or in Portuguese, situação fiscal integrada, which is your main dashboard. And it is also a very good starting point to the most important features that you have on the tax portal, as I will show you next. Also, in the same homepage, so the landing page after we log in, we have this on the left, and we have on the middle, or more at the bottom, we have these shortcuts here. These shortcuts will take you also to some places that are very important. For example, the e-fatura, which the translator translated to e-invoice, which is where you can verify your and you can find the receipts that were issued on your behalf. For example, from restaurants and from hotels and from clinics and hospitals, is where you can check that these expenses are going for your deductions that you have the right to deduct by the year end.
And some people will be making the connection now, Pedro. Of course, this is the illustration, isn't it, of when you're asked for your NIF number. That's what that's for, isn't it? You'll corroborate that spending inside that part of the portal.
Exactly. If you are not obliged to give your NIF number, you only give if you want to. If you do give your NIF number, you will be entitled to a deduction, which there are several buckets of several types of deductions. Be aware that if you are taxed at flat tax rates, you will not be able to benefit from deductions. So, for example, if you have only investment income, which is assessed at 28%, or rental income, you will not take benefit from the deductions. However, you don't know when you are going to file if you are going to be subject to the progressive rates or not. So it's better to give your NIF number. If you are not a Portuguese resident, please do not give your NIF number. Okay? Because imagine that you are not resident and you are here in Portugal, and you are afraid if you are here more than 183 days, okay? It doesn't make sense to give your NIF number, because you are giving information to the tax authorities that you are already in Portugal, okay?
Yes.
So they can see that you are here spending money on vendors, okay?
It's a good note. Thank you for that.
That's also an important note. The UC here is the car tax, the car circulation tax. You can also go straight forward to the place where you can make the payment. Once again, the notifications and summons, payments and refunds, and these invoices and receipts is for people who have self-employed activity or freelancing activity, okay? Which is another world. I will just go through lightly on this issue.
Some of us have the scars to prove it, Pedro. It's improved a little bit, actually, in the time I've been using it. But yes, it is another world. You're right. This is like, in my father's house, there are many mansions, isn't it? This is what was meant in the Bible, possibly, specifically about the poor. It was a prophecy about finances.
It's another, yeah.
Yes.
Do get some help for that, at least for the first time, and then you're on your own. Okay.
Yeah, that was general advice. That wasn't just to me to get some help, was it? Okay, all right.
Okay. So I was talking about the integrated tax situation, or situação fiscal integrada in Portuguese, which takes you to this panel here. Okay, as you can see, it's like a dashboard where you have a lot of information. The first thing you want to do when you log into the tax portal for the first time is to check if your personal details are correct, like your address, the gender, the date of birth. These are small things that you can use other features to change if you see that they are not correct. Okay. For example, the IBAN, your banking information, if you have a Portuguese bank account or a bank account in Europe, you can register your bank account here. So if you get a refund, it goes straight into your bank account instead of receiving a bank check by mail. So this is the general, the personal details that you have. So I've deleted some of the information, but you have here your NIF number, your name, date of birth, your nationality, and then some other data. For example, the tax office that is where you are currently registered at, which is your domicile. It has to do with your domicile. And your address. And here you can see if you are non-resident or resident. So if it says non-resident, no, this person is resident in Portugal. And in the same screen, you will have your, this is not household, this is your residential address. It was a bad translation. So you have your address here, the street, the location, postal codes, district and council. And the date it was changed to this address, okay? Mm-hmm. So the first time you change your address to Portugal, this date is important because it's the date that your tax residency started, okay? So when you file taxes, this is the beginning of your tax liability. Okay, so you have to report income after this date, for example. However, if you change your address more than once in Portugal, then you will lose what was the original date that you had when the first time you changed to Portugal. So that you have in a different document, which is the document that you use to change the address. The tax authorities will send you that document, and you should keep that the first time that you enter Portugal. Okay.
Yes.
And anytime you change any details, the tax office will send you a new document, so you can save all the documents with your personal information.
Excellent. We are getting some questions. So rest assured, to the premium members here on the call, we'll have an extra time with Pedro and come back to some of those things. But this will be a more general sweep through for the first go. But I'll make sure all of your questions and inquiries are dealt with that I'm seeing in the comments. Okay, so don't worry about that. Sorry, Pedro, you do carry on.
Okay. There is also, so in the same screen that I showed you, the dashboard of your general information, you can, let me go back to see if I can see that once again. Yes. So in the dashboard, so coming back to the dashboard, so you will come here often. You have the activity performed. So in Portuguese, atividade exercida. If you have an activity, you will click here, and it will take you to your activity information. So you will know when was the starting date of your activity. We call this in Portuguese, it's the B category, professional activity, professional income. The accounting type, because there is the accounting regime and the simplified regime. Your IRS code. IRS is not the same IRS as in the US. Okay, as you know, the IRS in the US is the tax authority in the US. IRS in Portuguese means personal income tax. Okay, this is the meaning of IRS.
Can I ask something here, Pedro? So with activities, from people like from the UK, you don't have to say what business you're carrying out necessarily if you're a self-employed person. And that comes as a shock to people who start a business and start work here in Portugal, doesn't it? You have to nominate the areas of work in which you want to operate, don't you? And that's what the activity is, right?
You do have to, because for many reasons, and but the most important here now that I will explain is the taxable income is calculated in different ways depending on the activity.
Okay.
For example, if I have a restaurant, my costs are completely different than if I am a lawyer. Okay.
Yes.
So
that makes sense.
the codes have associated coefficients that are used to determine your taxable income. Okay. So this is very important to use the right code. And also for statistical purposes, and also for the tax authorities, they can find out through the code if your revenues are according to what's normal in this situation, or if you are lying about your activity, for example, because they can compare with what is the average of the people that have those codes, for example.
All right.
So there are a lot of information that you can work on with the codes.
Interesting. Okay.
And then very important is the VAT activity. So maybe later I will talk a little bit about this. So if you have VAT as in your activity, it will be informed here, and what is the regime that you have. Okay.
Yep.
So
And
when
that's
you're raising
the IVA is the equivalent of that here in Portugal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, very good. Okay, so thank you for all of that. That's basically getting in and making sure your details are correct, isn't it? And setting things up. So thank you for all of that, including how to get your password and how to do it in the right way, how to set up in the right way. Yes, the e-Balcão. What is this?
Okay, the e-Balcão is like a chat, not a chat bot. It's a chat with real people from the tax services.
Okay.
It's a place where you can where you can place your questions and get general answers from not general, specific answers and information from the tax office.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a place where I can interact with the tax authorities. The information that they provide is just it's not a formal, it's not binding. Okay, so it's not the same as when I request a binding information to the tax authorities. Okay, I don't know if you are aware of that concept. So this is just for more informal information regarding a specific problem, or if I need help with some queries. It's also used to some procedures. Okay, so not just to get some information from the tax authorities, but also to make something happen. Let's say, don't expect that all your problems will be solved using the e-counter, because the way I've seen it working, for me, it's a big frustration, because when I try to engage in a conversation with the person in the tax office without having to go there personally and discuss the subject, they just try to close the tickets. And so I think that their goal is to close the tickets, and they are not very careful with the explanation they give to taxpayers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As a professional, I completely feel this. Okay. So it's good to get some information, but it's not definitive. It's not conclusive sometimes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So this, for example, is an example when you go there. So you can just go to the search bar on the top of the website, and you can just write and type in e-Balcão. It will take you straight to the e-Balcão, to this e-counter. Okay. This e-counter, you have you have some filters so that the issue is addressed to the right people. And I'm using here an example of an address change. There are two different ways to change, for example, your address in the tax portal. One of them is if you are already a resident in Portugal, you don't go to the e-Balcão. There is another place. We will cover that later. If you are living abroad and it's the first time you are coming to Portugal, you will use the e-Balcão. Okay, this is one of those nuances that how could you know that? Well, it is written on a leaflet that they have in English. So if you read all the instructions, I guess you will find it. But yeah, so the rule is if it's the first time changing to Portugal, we should use the e-Balcão and we should introduce something like this. We choose the taxpayer registration, identification, change of address, natural people. On the subject, we always put something like change of address in Portuguese. And the message is: boa tarde, venho pelo presente solicitar alteração de morada para Rua das Flores, tal. So I hereby request the address change to my address in Portugal, and I have to put the full address. With the zip code, also if the parish, if possible. I forgot to put the parish. However, for you to do this, you will need to add some documents if it's the first time you are moving to Portugal, okay? You will need to add your residency permit for once. And you will need to add your passport, okay?
And these are scans thereof?
Yeah, PDF. Professional PDF scan.
Yeah, okay.
And you will need to add, I think, I'm not sure, but it used to be like this, a rental contract or a house deed that shows the address, okay? So you must show, because it's not just a simple address change. It's you are declaring yourself resident in Portugal for tax purposes.
Okay.
So this has a huge impact. So don't do this lightly. Okay. Or once again, look for advice before doing this.
Okay. I mean, that was going to be my question. You can assist people, handhold people doing this.
Yes.
Give them the advice and maybe do a Zoom call and share screens and show them what to do.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Or we can, they can share the credentials and we can do it ourselves. But now you know how to do it. There is no secret. You just have to upload the necessary information that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Be aware of the consequences of this.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So, what other issues could you ask through the e-Balcão? You could ask, for example, so when you file your personal income tax return, or if someone files for you, which I think is more indicated, you can ask for a clarification of how were the values calculated. This is something that you can use the e-Balcão for.
Oh, okay.
To ask them, look, how did you come up with this tax liability? Explain me. And they will have to show you the calculations or whatever to because on the assessment that you receive by mail, nothing is clear. As some of you might have had the experience of receiving the assessments, and you don't understand how the tax is calculated. Okay, we know because we make the calculations in Excel, and we know the rules. And I think regarding the e-counter, these are two good examples of what we can do with the e-counter. But we can ask many things. So don't be afraid to ask. Just be aware that sometimes the correctness or the completeness of the answer may not be the best. Okay. So what next with the tax portal?
Yes, downloading and finding this will become a great relief, I think, to people, knowing that you can download things rather than have to go to an office and ask for them, which brings a whole other set of challenges and difficulties. So yeah, what is it possible to do here?
A lot, Carol. A lot.
Okay, right.
A lot.
So highlights maybe then.
I don't know I think I never go to the tax office unless I have to enter a discussion with the tax office responsible, because we can do anything in the tax portal. Sometimes it just takes more time. That's the problem.
Yes.
But it's not the case of the certificates that we can download. Those we can download instantly. Okay. So how to get to this section of the tax portal, and I will explain what is this for. So in the search bar, you can type in certidões. Okay, so not certificates or certificados. You have to use the word certidões. So using the right prompt works. If you use the wrong prompt, it will not work. It's just like AI.
Yes, that's quite the advantage, though, knowing that it's certidões rather than certificado.
Yeah. Okay. With the til.
Yes.
I think if you don't use the til on top of the O, it will go there anyway. So
right.
It's bulletproof against other keyboards from other areas.
And that has been put into the chat as well. So thank you for doing that, Mr. S, community member there. Very helpful.
Okay, so you go to either of these two first options, which is certidões or pedir certidão, and you get a drill down menu with these options here. I hope that you can see this with good resolution.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The most important ones. So the first one, the IRS settlements or assessments, as I usually say, what is this for? Sometimes if you have to go to IMA, or if you are negotiating a loan with the bank and you need a proof that you paid or that you filed and your IRS was liquidated, was assessed in Portugal. So you choose the IRS settlement, which is the settlement that you receive by post mail, but this one has a more formal type of document.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one that, for example, banks, they want this if you are negotiating a loan and they want to see your income declared in Portugal. Okay. The second one that's important in this case is there is a tax residence certificate and the tax domicile certificate. What's the difference? The tax domicile is the one that you should download to use as your proof of address. Okay, so if you have any KYC procedures in any bank or in any institution, and you need to show proof of your address other than just the utility bill, you can use the tax domicile, even to send to your other country to show them that you are resident in Portugal and that you are not resident there anymore. If you want to file to unregister as a tax resident from that country, this is one of the right documents to download, which is the tax domicile. So it's just a letter, one page, that says in Portuguese and in English that your tax domicile is in Portugal, your primary address is in Portugal, and it will read your address that you have on the system. The tax residency certificates, that's a different thing. This is when you want to claim the double tax treaty between Portugal and another state. It's something that I will not go into today, but I will just give you a very quick example. For example, if you have a pension from the UK, pensions are, so according to the tax treaty gives exclusive rights to pension taxation to your residency country, which would be Portugal. So you have to claim to HMRC, which is a tax authority in the UK, that they should not apply any withholding tax. Okay. And for that, you have to claim the tax treaty. And they require that you send them this tax residency certificate. However, I will show you that there's a lot of fields that you have to fill in, a lot of blanks that you have to fill in, and a lot of options that you have to fill in these documents.
Yes.
So I would advise you to look for help and not do it yourselves in this case.
I think that's a fair call on that one. Yes.
So this is what it's for. It's to claim benefits from the tax treaty between Portugal and the state you are coming from, or where you have your income sourced from. Okay. So regarding certificates, let me see. There is one more that I would like to show you, which is, it has to do with activity. If you have any kind of activity and you have VAT that we discussed a few minutes ago, there is a certificate called Foreign VAT Recovery, and it's not liabilities. This is a wrong translation. It's in Portuguese, it reads sujeito passivo, and it reads also the Foreign VAT Recovery. This is proof that you are registered for VAT in Portugal. Why is this important? For example, Carl, you want to buy a laptop from France, okay? You can send them, you can send the vendor a proof that you are registered for VAT in Portugal. You can send them these documents. And with these documents, they know that you are a VAT, that you have a business as a self-employed, and you are registered for VAT. So they will apply the reverse charge rules. They will not charge you VAT, French VAT, for example. Okay. Well, so this is when you want to show to your counterparties who you are doing business with that you are registered for VAT, because sometimes they demand that. Yes. Otherwise, they will charge you VAT from their local country, which is not deductible anywhere. Okay.
No, fair enough. Wow, I've already learned so much, and there's so much more to learn. I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, but it's showing, isn't it, the amazing capability and complexity of this portal, of this site.
Yeah, so these are very, I think, important and basic things that you need for your day-to-day life without having to request assistance from professionals.
Yes,
because it's not complicated apart from the tax residency certificate.
Yeah, that one looks very complicated, like blood run cold.
Okay, should we run into another?
Yes, well, that's certificate. Yes, that's a certificate download there, and sometimes people will need to get the rent receipts, and this looks like the place to do that.
Yes, it does, Carl. So rent receipts, if you are a tenant or a landlord, and you can either issue rent receipts or verify or look for your rent receipts, or just download them. It is also possible in the same place to see if your rental contract is registered in the tax portal, which, as you know, nowadays that's something that's a requirement.
Yes.
When you go to your renewals in IMA, and for many other reasons, you have to have your contract registered in Finanças. So let's start with how do we get to the rental receipts and contracts. So we type in the search bar arrendamento, which is rental in Portuguese, rental activity. Okay, I don't know if you can see the words from there.
Yeah, just about. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so here you can go to the section where you have the rent receipts. This is all in English, by the way, because I've used the translator.
Mm-hmm.
And you can either choose one of these, and it will take you directly to the receipts and contracts landing page. So, for example, I went to the contracts. In this case, I went to the contracts landing page, but the receipts are just on the top here, okay? And in the contracts, I can, for example, start a contract. So I'm the landlord and I can start the contract. But if I'm the tenant, the law has changed, and now I can also register the contracts in the tax portal as of 2025. Okay.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
if your landlord is stubborn and doesn't want to register the contract, when he told you he would do so, you can also register the contract if he doesn't register himself after 3 months, I think. And you can as a landlord, you can issue the income receipts.
Yes.
When you are issuing the income, so the first step would be to register the rental contract, and you choose it takes you to a screen where you choose your house that you have for rental, if you have more than one, and the type of contracts that you have, and who is the tenant, the NIF of the tenant. So the tenant must have a NIF. So you cannot register a contract if the tenant does not have a NIF. That's for once. And I also advise you to register the contract with the help of a professional. Why? Because there are many legal implications. Okay, the type of contract, the term of the contract. So advise yourself with a lawyer or with a tax advisor who is experienced in that, and register the contract. Regarding the receipts, so this is the last part that we can show you, which is you choose the rental activity here, and you just introduce the dates for the receipts and the date that you receive the money. So, for example, this month you received yesterday the rent, the value, and then you confirm. There is a withholding tax here window that is not. It shows 0. But once again, this is something that you have to speak with a professional. If you are renting a contract to a company, the company might withhold 25% of tax. Okay. So, for example, if you have a store and you are a shop and you are renting to a professional that has accounting, you might need to have withholding tax on the rent. Okay.
What does that actually mean? So could you illustrate that?
Yeah. So, for example, if I'm renting to a business,
yeah,
they can withhold 25%, which they will give to the state, and it's like an advance payment. Okay. So it's just a way of the tax authorities. They are receiving money throughout the year because they are afraid that I might spend all the money and don't pay them in the end.
Which happens.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Credit risk, Carl.
Okay. All right.
So you can also go to as I showed you back here, you can also go to the receipts, which is just above, and you can consult your receipts and see the receipts that you have and download them below in the window.
Okay, very good. Very good.
So regarding rental, we're finished. What topics would like to
staying
cover?
with homes, staying with the homeowner, the IMI, the property tax. Could you tell us how we get access to that and alerts here on the portal? Okay,
so the property tax.
Oh yeah, we'll come back to car tax.
You can, yeah, we will. So regarding the property tax, don't write IMI on the search bar because it will not take you anywhere. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So you can go to the dashboard that I showed you back there. Now I'm going there, okay? Which is a very good place to start.
Yes.
You can just go here and choose IMI current situation. Okay, the first option is the best. Current situation.
Yep. Bottom right hand corner. Yep.
In Portuguese, we will something like posição atual.
Mm-hmm.
So that will take you, as I'm showing here, Situação Atual, it will take you directly to this landing page here. Okay. And so in this case, the taxpayer had 3 partial payments of the IMI, because in some cases you have just one invoice to pay. In some cases, you have 2 invoices, and if the IMI is higher than certain amounts, which I have here, so if the IMI is up to 100 years, it can be paid in a single payment. Okay, if it's more than 100 and less than 500, it's in 2 months, which is April and November. Okay. And if it's April, July, and November, 3 months, if the amount exceeds 500. Okay, so most likely it will be the second or the third. However, it is possible to make one single payment, because when the first payment is due, which is by May, it should be April, but this year it was later. It was in May. Okay, it was an exception. They raise an invoice of the total amount, and you can pay the total amount so that you don't have to worry about the second and third payments, which you might forget and have dues on it, fines.
Yes.
So in this case, as you can see, in 2025, we are paying the 2024 IMI. This is how it works. And as you can see here, the third payment is in November. It's not yet available to pay. So I cannot, if I click here, I cannot see the invoice. Okay, it was not created yet.
Right.
And these are the invoices.
How far in advance are they created, generally speaking?
I think 1 month. So it must be anytime it should be being created. Okay.
And just to remind people that the IMI tax is a property owner's tax. Renters aren't paying this. The homeowner pays this tax, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So there's another place where you can go to. So if you click on any of these links here, it will take you to the invoice, and you can see specifically how the IMI was calculated. It's a percentage of the state value for tax purposes. Okay, the property has a value for tax purposes, and it's a percentage, typically 0.3% of that value. It can change from municipality to municipality. Another place where you can go is if you have the notifications activated, you can go to there and you can see the documents that they would send you on paper. Okay. So as I showed you on the screen with the shortcuts at the beginning, you can go to notifications and go straight to the document. Okay. So these are 2 separate paths, 2 routes to the same objective.
Great. Thank you very much. Right.
So the letter you receive is something like this. You have a payment reference, you have a value to pay, and the month of the payments. Okay.
Which, of course, you can do on your online banking or take that to a multi-banker machine. And
yes.
pay that way.
It's also possible to pay from abroad. I'm not going to cover that now,
No,
but it's possible. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we are running out of time.
Indeed. And we perhaps could go. You had slides on the IUC, which is the vehicle tax, but it's a similar pattern, isn't it? The payment will be requested, and you can pay it on there. In
this case, you should write IUC on the search bar. Okay, it will take. You can choose the first option. Okay, this is the car circulation tax. And then you can, it takes you to a landing page like this, where you can search for the vehicle. You choose the first option, you search, and it will take you to a list of the vehicles that you have. Right now, so the payment month is the month of the plate of the car. In this case, the car has a plate of December. So it should be paid in December. Right. So it's not available for payment yet. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Pedro. We were going to address questions about freelancers,
Okay.
but I think that might be a special topic. And I'm not sure in our constituency community necessarily there are that many people. I stand corrected if that's the case, but it may be better if we go to perhaps the last couple of questions. Jay, I will come back to you in the second part of the recording, definitely. So what we'd like to know is, and I think
Yeah.
change of address. I
We've
think
covered that.
we've
This,
covered that,
so
haven't we? And the personal details.
yes,
If we
yes.
could generalize it in conclusion, and maybe look at some of the mistakes, the most commonly made mistakes. And connected with that, what happens if you receive a notification, which may be a fine? So those things sometimes go together, don't they? So common
They do.
mistakes and what to do with notifications, if we could conclude with that.
They do. So one of the most common mistakes is when you buy a house. So you are not resident in Portugal yet.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy a house in Portugal, a property, and you go to the tax office, and because you have already some kind of residency permit or any other, if you live in the EU, you don't even need a residency permit, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the tax office, and and the person that's, when you are in the deeds, signing the deed of the house, you declare that it's for your primary residence. Okay. You have a big discount in the EMT, which is the transaction tax, because it's a primary residence. Okay. And so that is a mistake, because you are declaring that it's going to be your primary residence, and you don't know that yet. Okay. So
Right.
you are giving information to the tax authorities that you are becoming a resident. And then many people afterwards go to the tax office and they change their address to that address, and they don't know the consequences of that, and they regret later. Okay,
Yes, I
that's
bet. That's worth knowing, isn't it?
one of the most common mistakes. Another mistake, very quickly, is to file the activity registry on your own, okay, or with someone who doesn't know or didn't inform you, was not cautious enough to inform you of all the options that you had.
Yes.
For example, regarding your activity, regarding the VAT, this is very common. They can put you subject to VAT when you didn't need to be subject to VAT. For example, if you are just doing some random invoices once in a while, and you are not going over 15,000 euros per year in invoices, because it's something very temporary, for example, it's a side business, and they put you in VAT regime, and that is wrong, because then you will need to file quarterly VAT returns. You'll need to charge VAT to your clients.
Yeah.
And you don't know anything about VAT, so you will need help. So
And that's
need to spend money.
23%. You know, that makes a big difference.
It does, and
yeah.
also for each VAT return that you don't file in due date, you are going to have a fine.
Yep.
And if there is any VAT liability, you can pay up to 30% of the VAT that was not paid as a
Ouch.
fine. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's worth getting some help on there. And thank you so much, Pedro. So a couple of big howler mistakes to be aware of there.
Also, if you receive notifications of fines and something like that, consult with someone, because sometimes we are still in time to make the corrections and to not pay the fines that are due, or at least we can claim a decrease of the fine. Okay.
That's really worth knowing, isn't it? Because you might just be terrified to see that you've got a fine, pay it immediately just to be rid of it, when in fact you can appeal, delay, or even have it pushed back. And the other thing about knowing professionals from personal experience is that they can also organize installments for you as well, which you might not necessarily know for yourself, which is worth knowing.
That's very important. So there are 2 times where you can ask for installments. So the first is after the due date. You have 15 days to claim for 12 months payment plan with interests at the rate of 4% per annum, which is not so bad. but you have to submit the request right after the due date, so in the first 15 days. And then if you don't do that, you get an execution. You can also request a payment plan in installments, but that has different conditions. Up to 5,000 euros, you don't need a guarantee. But if it's more than 5,000 euros, you will need a guarantee to secure that installment plan.
Very interesting. That did sound very drastic, that you'll get an execution. I think it's clear it's not quite that drastic. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. The Portuguese government is serious and self-finances, but not that serious, folks. Pedro, that's been incredible value. I'm sure anyone who's watching this on the YouTube replay will agree. An incredible amount of value and information there, and very brilliantly put as well, because this can have people have their blood run cold and have people glaze over with these sorts of things. And I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that when it comes to these administrative things in a foreign language and in a new land. So thank you so much for making that so engaging and interesting and informative tonight. A really good reason to be an Expats Portugal Premium member, because those members are going to hang out with Pedro now, and we're going to address some of the extra questions. But that's your lot on YouTube. Become a member over at expatsportugal.com and join us on a Thursday evening and get this kind of help on a more one-to-one basis, which we're going to do now. So thank you, Pedro, so far.
Thank you, everyone. Please reach out if you have any questions. And I'm sorry that we didn't have time to go through the questions. I'm sure that there was a lot, but maybe we should cover a different topic next time, more focused, and I don't know.
Thank you. Well, you can find Pedro in Expats Portugal Business Directory. Do so. And we're going to just go to some of the questions for the Expats Portugal Premium members now. That's the clapperboard right there. Cut. But the recording is still rolling for those members who couldn't be here tonight, Pedro. So,
looking for a place to call your own, where the sun shines bright and the seeds are sown. Portugal, it's the place to be. Join the community.